Hello, my friends. It's Becky. Welcome back to my channel. On my channel, I am going on my good midlife crisis where I am journeying through my 40s and working oh so hard to get my poop in a group. In order to do this, I have been working on my physical, my financial, and my mental health. And today is July the 19th. It is a Friday, and we are going to be doing a financial health check in. Today, we are going to be doing 2 weeks of my July budget. Typically, I do 1 week at a time. I am paid bi weekly, but I budget weekly. But July is a special month. July is my birthday month. If you watched not last week's but 2 weeks ago video, I did 2 weeks for that budget as well because last week was my birthday and I was out of town, so I didn't create a video on Friday. And then next week I have my church camp and I will be out of town again. And actually next week I won't even have access to internet, so I will not be able to upload a video, even if I actually will probably have time to create a video next week. I just won't have any internet to upload the video. So you get two videos in one twice this month. So hi guys. Guess what time it is for those of y'all who are returning viewers. Welcome back. So happy you're here. I missed you last week. I have so much to tell you, but it's 7:30. It's 7:26. So we're going to have to talk and budget at the same time because we have 2 weeks to budget. But we had such an amazing trip. So, okay, it didn't start off so fantastically because if you watched my weigh-in video from Wednesday, which is part of my physical health, obviously, um, when I got to Houston, my there was a hiccup and they canceled my reservation because of Hurricane Beryl. Um, and they just didn't tell me. The hotel was experiencing issues with their power, and but they didn't tell me. They didn't tell their corporate office. They didn't tell Expedia. They didn't tell anybody. They just were like, "Yeah, no, no, we just didn't tell anybody because we don't have phones, we don't have internet, and you're just gonna have to contact the third party booking system to get your money back. They shouldn't have booked you a room." And I'm like, "I booked this room like 2 weeks ago," and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, sorry, nothing we can do." I was like, uh, you didn't notify anybody? You didn't put this on your website? You didn't do it? And they're like, well, we don't have a way to do that. And I was like, you should have notified somebody. It was very frustrating. It was very, very frustrating. All the other hotels were open and having rooms, but all those rooms were booked. It was just this one hotel, which was very frustrating. Um, we did finally about 1:30. This was about 10:30 that we got there. Drove around, made tons of phone calls, called Expedia, did all the things we could do to try to find a room. About 1:30, Nathan was ready to just drive home, but we were exhausted. Finally found a room in a hotel, but they didn't have AC. But I was like, I don't care at this point. I just want to go to sleep. And slept miserably, but slept. But at least we found a place, we were safe, the doors locked, it was just hot, but it was okay. And then after that everything was fine. The only other small hiccup was that I was excited about going on the mission control tour at NASA, but there was a lightning strike warning in the area, and so they're like trams that they take you from building to building on are metal. And so if there's a lightning strike warning, they won't transport people. We had already scanned our tickets and were sitting on the tram when they had to cancel it. So we had to go back inside and then they refunded the money for that tour. Which was at least they refunded the money and we weren't out the money for that tour, but it would have been nice to do it. So I guess I'm just gonna have to go back. Everything else was wonderful. I got to see NASA. I really, really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I took a bazillion pictures and videos of NASA. We were there from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. And considering that we hadn't really slept like at all the night before, think we got into that hotel at 1:30, didn't sleep very well at all because of how hot it was. And then finally around 4:30, we're like, getting up and taking cold, like, took turns taking a cold shower and just left the hotel to go find a 24-hour IHOP where we could get some coffee. Um, So we really did not have very much sleep and walked around NASA all day long and then went to another hotel that I had like managed to find while we were looking for other hotels for that night. Could find hotels for the next night, but just not for the 10th. Um, anyway, went straight to that hotel and just crashed out because we were so tired. On Friday, when we went to New Orleans, completely different. The drive was beautiful. I've never been on that south route through New Orleans. I have family that lives up in northern Louisiana and like the Shreveport Bossier City area, so I've been up there, but I've never been down in the south part. I've never driven through it on my way to Florida. I've never been to Florida, never been down to that south part of Louisiana, and it was absolutely a gorgeous drive. Driving over those swamps, driving over the water, crossed the Mississippi before. Obviously, I've driven to Tennessee. I've driven from New Jersey a bunch when I was a kid, going back and forth to Texas. But it was a beautiful drive. We enjoyed the drive. We enjoyed the scenery. We just took our time. Um, I got a lot of videos and pictures of just the scenery. I love nature. I love taking pictures of buildings and of trees and of rivers and of lakes and fields and cows and stuff. So I just love a good road trip. This was a beautiful road trip. And then when we got into New Orleans, we had the hotel in the French Quarter, parked the car, like there was a parking garage that wasn't connected to the hotel, but it was associated with the hotel. It was directly across from the hotel that we had booked. And so we could just park. The valet took the car, went over to the hotel, checked in, and then we had that walking tour. Again, the ghost tour thing, if you watched Wednesday's video, you know that's not my thing, but I love architecture. I love buildings. I love history. I love things like that. So I was excited to go see the old buildings. I got a whole bunch of pictures of the old buildings. I learned a lot of the history of New Orleans and how these stories even originated. I loved it. Bobby, who was our tour guide, was amazing. He's lived in New Orleans his whole life. Like all he does is tour guides and he does these tours and he does all of the tours for New Orleans. Is like not just the ghost, he does all of the different tours. Um, so it was really, really fascinating. And then Saturday, I got to go get my gluten-free chicken and waffles. I did try the gluten-free beignets, and honestly, I wasn't a big fan of them, but from what I was told, they are nothing like actual beignets. So they were kind of like hush puppies with like drowning in honey, is how the best way I can describe them. They weren't bad. They just were nothing like what I was expecting, and I didn't care for them. But whatever. Again, absolutely beautiful, absolutely hot and swampy, but I was prepared. I was expecting it. Tried to go to the pharmacy museum, but they were closed because they didn't have AC. So I just went to the two different history museums, learned about the actual like history of Louisiana, a lot of the history. And then I walked over to the other side. They have like two different history museums and they had a history of different hurricanes, but with a focus on Katrina. And then upstairs they had the history of Mardi Gras, which was fascinating because I didn't know a lot about the history of Mardi Gras. I know that it's a thing, but I didn't know a lot about like how it started and why they do it and a lot of different things. Um, I don't know. I just wandered around downtown and wandered around Jackson Square, and it was just such an amazing time. And then of course we had to go out for a drink on Bourbon Street, and I saw like this really cool drumline. They were so good, bunch of young boys, and they were just so good. I got a video of that. Like I had an amazing time. And then when we were coming home on Sunday, we stopped at the Texas Welcome Center, and I had no clue that there's like this whole, I think it's a bayou, it might be a swamp. I don't know. I have pictures and I'll have to look at them to figure it out. But it's just like if you go behind the Louisiana, Texas, on the Texas side, the Texas Welcome Center, like behind the building, it's like this entire giant like walkway, and you can walk back there and take pictures, and there's all this information, all these signs with like you with the different types of wildlife that live back there and the trees and the plants and the fauna, and it's so informative and so beautiful in its own way. I mean, it's not everybody's type of beauty, but if you like that, it was amazing, and I had no clue it was even back there. And you can hear the highway kind of, but you can't see it. You know it's there. It's right on the highway, but it looks like you're just in the middle of nowhere in a swamp somewhere. It was fascinating, and I'd never been there. Anyway, so yeah, we did all of that. And I did get to go in and surprise my mom on Tuesday, and so spend the day with her. And it was just, I had such a great time off. So I missed y'all, but again, I'm really glad I took that time. I needed it. And I did put some money on my Amex card that I have not had a chance really because I kind of got back on Sunday evening and then right back into work. And like I've been trying to get everything caught up from last week and get everybody into a place because I'm going to be gone again next week where I can not worry about everything because we have three trainees on my team. So everybody is we're staffed, but half of us are in training. So I haven't had a chance to sit down and look at my Amex card and figure out an actual payment plan. So once I have done that, I will share that with y'all. Plus, I know some of it is going to be like some of it is my Paxlovid from when I had COVID, and I will be refunding that money off of my FSA card. So I'm not really overly worried about that. That was a big chunk. That stuff was expensive. Some of it will be reimbursed because some of it was from the trip and Nathan will pay me back for it. Some of it, um, I'm going to have to sit down and look at it and come up with the payment plan. And once I've done that, I will share that plan with y'all. So for right now, after I said I wasn't going to go into it, I was so excited about all of it that I then did go into it. But it wasn't honestly as long as I thought it was going to be because now it's only 7:35. So, what we have to budget out today are my bills for this week and my bills for next week. And my bills for next week do include the first of the month bills because next week goes right up to 8/1. So I do go all the way through 8/1 in this budget because it's the 2 weeks. So I'm going to pause and shrink myself up into the corner so we can get started on this budget. And I will be right back and we'll get started. I always hide my button. I don't know why I do that to myself. I'll be right back. Hey, I forgot to say if you're new, welcome. I'm so excited that you are here. I'm Becky. I talk a lot, in case you missed that part of it. Um, the money that I have to budget out today is $2,767.75. What this is some rollover that I had from last week. My paycheck, and I did get my raise, it was about $54. So I'm happy with that. That is actually more than I thought it was going to be. I never know how much it's going to be. My company, I work in healthcare, so I make nice money. I'm not clinical, so it's not like I'm making a ton of money. But even clinical, like unless you're a doctor or a brain surgeon or something, you're not really making a lot of money um, because it's healthcare. But I work in healthcare on the clerical side, so I don't make a lot of money. Um, but I love my job and I love the company that I work for. Um, but I never know how much it's going to be but because taxes and everything. I knew the percentage that I had gotten, but I wasn't sure exactly what it was going to be after taxes. So $54 was a nice percentage. I was happy with that. So I had rollover. I had like a couple of dollars of cash back from my cards, and I forgot. I realized that my savings account, like my actual like in my checking account savings account, had like 53 cents worth of interest that I never check that because I never use my savings account. But when I reconciled it, I was like, oh, like there's like 53 cents worth of interest in this account because it's like 1 cent at a time. And I guess I just never checked it. So whatever, I have 53 cents that I rolled into here as well. So that's what this money is, and we're going to use this to budget out. The way I budget, this is YNAB, by the way. It stands for You Need a Budget, and this is how I digitally cash stuff my money. And I love it, and it helps me so much because this girl cannot handle cash very well. I did take out cash for this trip, and it was super helpful because I knew that I was going to need it for tour guide tips and for some of the stores like Cafe Du Monde, which is the um, very famous cafe in New Orleans for beignets and things like that. They don't take credit cards. I knew that. I didn't know if Nathan had known that. He did not know that, so it was a good thing I had cash. I can't eat there, but I did get myself a coffee and I got a souvenir T-shirt for the neighbor who was taking care of our animals while we were out of town. I picked up a souvenir for her there. Um, so I wanted to have some cash and I paid for Nathan's breakfast because he didn't have cash. So there were a couple of places that like were cash only, and sometimes it's just more convenient to have cash when you're traveling. So I did have some cash on hand. But for the most part, like in my day-to-day life, I do not carry cash. And this app right here, helps me manage my money. It's very similar to the cash envelope system. You just leave your money in your accounts. Doesn't matter what account it's in because this doesn't like me moving it around here does not change it in my actual banks. So it doesn't matter what category I leave it in here, it is still in wherever it is in my bank. So I can put it in my dining out, my ecclesial expenses, my pet expenses. It doesn't move it from my checking to my savings to my long-term savings. It stays wherever it is. This doesn't pay my bills. I still have to manually go pay my bills. It just tells me where I want to move it, where I need it to be. So, the thing you do when you have YNAB and you have your money ready to assign is you ask yourself, what do I need my money to do for me before I get my next income, my next inflow of money? So, what I always do is every week I give myself $40 for dining out, and I do have plans to go out for dinner with my group of friends for my birthday since I was out of town on my actual birthday week. We're going to go celebrate this evening. This should cover it. If not, I'll cover it with my fun money. This will be fine. I give myself $100 for groceries. I did go grocery shopping last night and get the majority of the things I think I will need to take with me to my camp. The camp that I go to does provide food for the whole week. So my problem is I have celiac, in case you're not familiar with me, which means I have to be very careful about cross contamination as well as only like gluten free, but also cross contamination. Very so there will be a lot of the camp I go to is for like entire families. So little kids all the way up to like my mom is going. My mom is in her mid to late 70s, and then little tiny kids, baby newborns are going to be there. So depending on where in line you get, if I get to the front of the line, I can be okay with like making sure I'm the first person to dip into something. If I'm in the back of the line, little kids don't have any concept of making sure they don't dip the spoon into the same thing as something else. It's especially bad at breakfast times with like knives going into the butter or something. And it's not their fault. It wouldn't have entered my head as a kid to not put my butter knife back into the same thing as something else. It's not anybody's fault. I would never have thought about it. So I like to bring some of my own foods just first. They always make a separate gluten-free meal. Always. There's always a separate gluten-free meal for the people who need it. Um, but I'm also a picky eater, so maybe I won't like it. So I bring some sandwich stuff. And then I always bring my own like bagels and my own separate butter dish, so that I can make myself some toast. And I bring a toaster, like one of the $4 toasters from Walmart. It's nothing fancy. And then I have a little mini fridge that I picked up that I bring with myself. Nathan split the cost of that with me last year. He uses it all year long in his office, like at work. He takes it, keeps sodas in it, for himself, and then I bring it once one week of the year. I bring it to High with me. So anyway, I do go pick up some groceries just so I have something available if I don't like what they're serving at the church camp, or if I'm afraid that it's maybe going to be cross contaminated, I can eat safely because I don't want to get sick while I'm there. It's one of my favorite weeks of the year. It is my favorite week of the year, and I just don't want to be sick. Plus, I don't want to be sick in general. So anyway, I went and bought some snacks and some foods for that last night. But I do give myself $100 a week. I don't know that I will need this next week because I will be out of town, but I'll have it. If I don't use it, that's great. Give myself $10 a week for fun money. Ecclesial expenses is $80 a week. I'm not putting anything in here because we will not be having an in-person church for my church this week. Coffee is $25 a week. I did budget that, but I don't know that I will need it because, again, I will be out of town. But I might go pick up more coffee, like go down to Dutch Brothers tomorrow. Um, and I think I only have like $5 left on the app, so I might need to refill it anyway. Gas, it is a time to put gas in my car. I did use that for the road trip, so I do need some more gas. Um, every paycheck week, only on paycheck weeks, I give myself $25 for self-care. So I am putting that in there, and I did go get my mani-pedi for my birthday. So I did use that. So gas and self-care, I fill only on paycheck weeks, and that is it. The rest of these I fill at the beginning of the month, and I think, yeah, those are not get filled until my next video, even though the first is technically being covered on this video. Um, they won't get filled until my August 1st video, not just the 1st of August, because that is being covered in my July budget. They'll get covered in my August budget. My YouTube expenses. So, somebody did give me Gina. Thank you so much, Gina. On my wish list for my Amazon wish list, sent me $25, and I didn't actually use the gift card, um, because I don't know that I can, or if I can, I didn't know how to figure it out. I was doing it from my phone. So I'm sure I can, I just don't know how to do it. But I used I used that money to buy some date dots so that I can get my August budget set up. So these were on my wish list. So I am going to say that these are from Gina. Um, got me some date dots so that I can use these to set up my August budget. I hope you can see these. I can't tell because I can't see me, but some date dots. These were on my wish list that are on my Amazon wish list that I set up because a couple of y'all, yes, and a couple of y'all had seconded it, asked me to set up an Amazon wish list. So I did that. So now I have my date dots that I will use these to set up my August. Well, actually, there's a ton of them. I didn't realize how many there were in here when I had put this on my wish list. But anyway, Eugenia. This is the first thing I bought, and so I will use that money to buy other items for creating my budgeting book. I have plenty of paper still, but maybe I'll buy some more washi tape or something. So that is what this is, and then I will use some of this to ship out Libby's package because Libby won my birthday giveaway, and I will ship that out hopefully tomorrow before I leave town. I have a couple of errands to run tomorrow morning, and one of those will be the post office, and I will ship out Libby's prize because she won the giveaway. And I did get your email with your address. I just haven't had a chance to respond, so thank you for sending me that. Um, okay, that's what I got. I still have $2 left in my stuff I forgot to budget for. See if I can make it to the end of the month. I don't think I can, but we'll see. Okay, bills that I have to fill this week. So this will be for this week and for next week's bills. It's basically going to be everything for the rest of the month because I am going through the end of the month. So my internet is due by the end of the month. That is $65.45. My debt consolidation loan, I pay $300. So my minimum payment is $167. I pay $133 extra to make a minimum payment of $300 every month. It's because I am planning, we're willing to pay this debt off by the end of the year. That is my goal because I'm tired of paying on this. Cinemark is $6.48 every month. That is my movie subscription that gets me one free movie every other month, 20% off my concessions, and no online fees when I book a movie. I think that is a fantastic deal for somebody who sees movies. If you're going to go watch a movie not on a very regular basis, it's worth it just for the 20% off the concessions and not paying any online booking fees. Honestly, it's a good deal. Cinemark is not my preferred movie theater. I prefer Flicks, but it is the closest movie theater to me, so it's super convenient if I just want to run out and go watch a movie. Um, if I'm gonna go like to a movie, I'm gonna go watch it at Flicks. Okay, water. I know what the bill is. It is $97. This is not due till the 27th, which would be out of my next check. That is $27. What did I say? 27. That would be nice. 97.49. It's right there. 97.49. You see this in gray? This is a toolkit feature, which I did film a video on. If you want to check it out, I will link it below. $97.49 is set to come out. Seth's car payment. Seth's car will also be paid off this month. It is $325.27. It is a minimum payment of $269.85 that auto drafts. We pay the extra $55.42 to make a minimum like total payment of $325.27. I pay rent to Nathan every month. I budget $600. I don't know exactly what I'm going to end up paying him yet because everything's not into Splitwise yet. But I'm going to go ahead and put the $600 in here fully just because I don't know exactly what it'll be. The other bill that I have is down here in my credit cards, and that is Mattress Firm. Um, I am going to put the $80 in here. That will come out on the 21st. Then American Express, it's only set to draft $40. I'm going to go ahead and put, I'm going to put at least, I'm going to come back to that. We'll put that at the end. Let's see what I have left. Okay, so at the beginning of next month, oh, I do have pet expenses in here on the 1st, but I'm going to put them in August. Let me see what else I have. It's 750, y'all. I'm going to try to finish this up. So I have in July on paycheck weeks, y'all, I didn't forget this, but I almost forgot this because I'm so trying to wrap this up so I can go to work because it's Friday and I have so much to do and I'm out of town next week. Each of my great nephews gets $1 a week for their age. So Baby Joe and Baby Jet each get $1 a week, which is $2 a paycheck. I'm saving their ages. Y'all, in just a couple of months, Joe's going to be 2. So this is going to change to $2 a week or $4 a paycheck. Jet's going to be 1, so he'll stay the same. And then I put $25 every paycheck away for my taxes, for tax prep and in case I owe anything. So that is all that I have for that. Those are my savings. Okay. Dining out, groceries, fine, coffee, illegal, self-care, gas. Okay, that's done. Okay, now I have my first of the month bills for July the 1st. How did I overspend something in August? What is overspent in August? I am very confused as to how I overspent. That makes so much sense. I was my when I was closing out my budget last night, I was like, somehow I'm $300 off, and I don't know how, and that is how. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, sorry about that. Let's go to all. So I didn't have that much money. I had $300 extra from what I thought I had. All right, I had $300 less than what I thought I had. So that is why I don't know how I did that though. I have no idea how I did that. Sorry, y'all. I just confused myself completely. So I had $300 less than I thought. Well, that was lovely to think I had that $300, but I don't. Anyway, better to know. Better to know. Everything was reconciled. Okay, so here's what we actually have. I have $1,039.06 left. I must have accidentally, I don't know. I have no idea how I did that. I'm not even going to try to think about that right now because we have 6 minutes before I have to go to work. All right. I am going to put for my August bills, I have to pay my mom's car insurance. I don't have to. I pay a couple of bills for my mom. This is, and I know I've explained this before, but if you are new, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I was making absolutely horrible. Like you cannot believe how bad we're talking, y'all. I don't even know if I've told y'all this. Payday loans, payday loan bad. I would wake up on, I only have to go through the first. I would wake up on payday and have a negative balance in my account with my auto deposits. Bad decisions. And my parents didn't even ask me questions. They would just give me money. They supported me for a very long time, and it hurt their ability to save. My mom took money out of her retirement account to support myself. My sister was very chronically ill, and then she passed away. My mom paid my sister's mortgage a couple of times, and more than a couple of times, helped her out of a bankruptcy. My parents supported myself and my sister to their own detriment, and then my father became ill and was no longer able to work. My parents supported myself and my sister to the point to where it hurt their ability to save for their retirement. And what they had saved, which wasn't unsubstantial because my mom was an accountant and she knew what she was doing. She knew what she was doing. She just chose to support us instead of doing what she knew she needed to do. Um, anyway, so now that I am finally in a place where I can support myself, I want to be able to help my mom. Um, so I am paying because my mom is now in reduced circumstances since my dad passed away much younger than ever anybody ever thought he would. Um, and she lost a big chunk of her income when he did. She lost his pension. The way his pension was set up was not the way it should have been. Um, and that was a big chunk of her income. So anyway, um, I pay some of her bills. And so I pay one of her bills that I pay is her car insurance. So I pay her car insurance and I try to pay her utility bill. And so I am going to put another $50 toward my mom's utilities, which is up here somewhere, right there. Mom's utilities, $50 into mom's utilities, $100 into gifts and giving for the month of August. Um, I think that's everything. I actually do think that's everything. And I need $425 for my regular envelopes for the week, which leaves me just, let me do math because I don't trust my brain right now. 498 minus 425, that leaves me $73. I'm going to put in American Express for next week, instead of $40, I'm going to put $60 into American Express here. And that will cover that bill. That's what I'm going to make this payment for. It's not a lot. So that leaves me $438.70 to roll down into next week. I will cover my weekly envelopes for next week off camera next week. I don't want to fill them this week because if I do, I will go spend them this week. That's just the way my brain works. That's why I do weekly budgeting, to break it down for myself so I don't spend it all at once. But I wanted to get the bills covered now. All right, y'all. I have to go. It is 7:58. I will talk to y'all later. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will talk to y'all in 2 weeks when I am back from my church camp. I hope y'all have a fantastic week, a fantastic next week, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.